Welcome to Ready to Heal. I'm your host, Betsy Sawyer Galen, and today my guest is Cathy Lipsky, and I'm welcoming you back. Thank you for coming back.
Thank you for inviting me.
You are, now, why don't you tell us your official title?
I'm a renegade nurse practitioner, nurse practitioner by Western training, but have been doing holistic healing methods for probably the past 20 years.
And today we are going to focus on Ama massage.
Yes.
Which is a type of Chinese medicine massage, correct?
That's correct. Ama actually means push-pull in Chinese. And my master, who created the Ama therapy, was from Korea.
Uh-huh.
And she brought it to the States in the early 1970s.
Huh.
And what it is essentially is it's massaging the same meridians that an acupuncturist would use needles into.
Uh-huh.
So I massage, there's 12 primary meridians, front and back, and I would be massaging all of them to help balance your energy for anything that's ailing you.
And now how does that compare with regular acupuncture?
Oh, acupuncture is much more profound. It's much deeper. This helps to, I would say, I would prefer to be working with an acupuncturist at the same time. Like if you have an acupuncturist that you use and then you come to me for the massage, it just facilitates each other. It helps to make it even better. But the acupuncture is much more profound.
And so when you do an Ama massage, do you focus only on a certain part of the body, or is it like a full body treatment?
I love that question. That's a great question, because if you're coming to see me for an Ama therapy or an Ama massage, or you're going to an acupuncturist, the acupuncturist, if they've been trained in Eastern medicine, Chinese medicine, or traditional Chinese medicine, then they're looking to balance your body. They're not just going, if you went in for a shoulder problem, they would also be looking actually at your colon and your lung, because there's meridians for each organ in the body, and they will help to relieve that shoulder problem, but at the same time are going to be relieving the origin of the issue.
Which could be your colon.
Which could be your colon, yeah. And the funny thing, I love this story, is that if there's a shoulder problem or if there's a tooth problem, chances are there's either a stomach problem or a shoulder problem and a colon problem. Because it's like...
Those are connected.
They're all connected.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I've never heard that. So how does which came first, the Ama massage or acupuncture? Well,
I would imagine that the acupuncture came before, and then over the centuries they realized that, if I just rub it, when you get a shoulder pain, you would go, you'd be rubbing your shoulder.
Uh-huh.
So the sages meditating in the caves 5,000 years ago would probably have channeled that information as well. That, if I rub my shoulder, well, what if I put some spines or needles into my shoulder? That might help too.
So tell me a little bit about how you got involved with Ama massage.
Well, it's like getting a flyer in the mail. There's a holistic nursing program in Long Island, and they were having an open house. So that's how it really started. And I've always been one to know that if you eat properly, if you live properly, who's to say what is proper, but if moderately, everything in moderation. And they had a 1-year program at the New York College in Syosset, Long
And do you
Island.
get licensed just like a regular masseuse or...
No, I got a certificate. I already have a license as a nurse.
Okay.
So I have a license to touch people and do healing modalities.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. So it's a 1-year program that you do that focuses on, what is it? What all do you learn? Because it is connected to acupuncture.
Mm-hmm. This actually, I'm trying to remember. It was so long ago. It was in the early 90s. I think it was like a year and a half program. Now I believe it's a 1 year certificate program. But you learn the basis of what traditional Chinese medicine is about. And that essentially is helping the body balance and to get into a place where it can heal itself.
Right.
So, and then also we learned about dietary specifications. You know, what is a hot food? What is a cold food? Like right now, during this heat, we should be eating cooler foods. Like anything white is cooling.
Oh.
And
milk?
No, that's a whole nother subject. Don't get me talking about milk.
So why did you say white? Like that's the first thing that I think of when I think of white food.
Yeah, it has a lot to do with the lung.
Eggs, I guess. How about eggs?
Not so much eggs, but more salads, more raw foods.
Raw foods,
let's say,
okay.
Yeah.
So like cucumber? Cucumber's got to be a cool one.
Absolutely. Cool as a cucumber.
I think of that as green, but it's actually white. It's like
cool as a cucumber. Certain radishes, although they might have a hot flavor, they're really more cooling. Daikon radish is cooling. Watermelon. No wonder why watermelon grows so well in the summer, right?
Yeah. So okay. So and what are the hot foods?
Any animal. Well, beef. Beef is hot. Coffee's hot. Any menopausal woman who wants to have another hot flash, if she drinks a cup of coffee, that'll warm you up.
Oh, what about tea?
Tea, not so much. It's not as hot, energetically hot as coffee, but coffee is definitely hot. So beef, a lot of the animal proteins are hot foods. Hot chili peppers, they not only have that spicy flavor, but they're energetically hot as well.
And what about, I'm associating like bitter taste with cool food. Is that right or not?
Not so much. Bitter is bitter. Bitter would be a good one if you have digestive issues, liver issues. Yeah, cleansing the blood.
And what about like spices like cilantro? I guess that's not a spice. That's an herb.
It's a plant medicine.
A plant medicine.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what
that would be. Oh, yeah. I heard that cleanses the blood, and so that's why I was.
Yeah, the other thing is you often see cilantro in Mexican foods, which can have a lot of
spicy
heat to it.
Yeah.
So I would imagine it's kind of cooling as well.
It balances it.
Can't be 100% sure.
So you brought a diagram here that we're going to take a look at. I think Keith is showing it. I hope he's showing it now. So can you tell us a little bit about what this is and why you brought it?
Yeah. Well, what I want people to understand is that there's the acupuncturist and then there's the medical people who do acupuncture, that they're not the same thing.
Right.
A true traditional healer will be looking at a few things, not just that you came in with a shoulder pain or a jaw ache or something, but to see where the imbalance is in your body. And they will feel your pulses, and they will also look at your tongue. So I wanted to show the tongue picture because
that's a tongue. Okay.
Yeah, that's a tongue. Surprise.
Didn't know what that was.
Yeah, it even says spinal column right down here in the center, so you know which is the left and which is the right. And so the tongue diagnosis is much more stable than if you were going to go to your acupuncturist and they wanted to feel your pulses. Like if you were rushing to the acupuncturist's office and it was hot outside, chances are your heartbeat would be up, and
right.
It would not be a valid test of, how are your pulses today. But the tongue doesn't change so much. So the tongue actually will reflect certain areas of the body, like here your kidney, here's your digestive
that's the back
system.
Of the tongue. Yeah.
This part of the tongue, right?
Yeah.
Would
the back towards the throat.
Would you like me to look at your tongue, by the way? Give you a little diagnosis. But here's your spleen, the liver, the stomach, and the heart, and then the lung here. So if there was, let's say somebody came in with constipation, I could look at this person's tongue and there might be a thick coating on the tongue, and it could even be a little darker, because sometimes you can look at your tongue and there might be a white coating, like let's say if you were getting a cold,
Right.
and your tongue might be more thick. Also, when we're looking at the tongue, we're looking at moisture, we're looking at color, and we're looking at the thickness of the coating. So if somebody came to me with diabetes, I could see certain parts of the tongue, like on the side, there would be like a scalloping.
Oh,
And
that's diabetic.
also a very wet tongue, like almost dripping with fluid off of it. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. So, and this is all part of the Ama massage, right?
This is part of the Ama therapy, the Ama massage, because we will feel your pulses and we'll look at your tongue. And the pulses, when pulses are felt, it's not just like, okay, I'm going to count your pulse for a minute. It's the levels of the pulses. It's the very superficial, the middle portion, and then the deeper portion.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and then it gives you an idea, well, is there an imbalance in the heart? And that, because each right pulse, left pulse will have different organs. The right pulses is the lung, the spleen, and the kidney. And then the other side would be heart, liver, and also kidney.
And then can you also pick up things that are maybe not detectable or people don't know about yet, that like an imbalance or something?
I might feel your pulse, and if you were on my table, I might feel your pulse, and I could be feeling and saying, how's your sleep, Betsy? You sleeping okay?
Yeah, pretty
Whoa. Well, you might have said, well, last night I just couldn't sleep at all. But, so these are the things that I might be detecting, and I'm like, if I was feeling the lung side, because that also reflects allergies.
Is this the lung side?
This is the heart side.
The heart side. Oh, okay. So what can you tell here? There's a deeper pulse, and where is the deeper pulse? That's on the.
It would be deeper as I go pressing.
Oh, you press
deeper.
press in deeper,
and then very deep, and then come back a little bit to see. Oh, what am I feeling differently here? And then superficially.
Oh, that's fascinating. Heart. So you feel something different when you press hard than when you. What's the difference in what you're feeling?
Well, the inner portions of your body. Let's say the movement of the blood and the fluid, the digestive, the nutritive portion of your body, nutrition. How is everything being reflected?
So, like, if you push really deep, and like, what would be an example of something like a sensation that you would get that is?
I might feel over
like
on this side, the heart and the liver side.
Yeah.
I might feel like a very jagged. If somebody had blood pressure issues, or they were really angry. So it's not just physiologic; it's also emotional as well.
That
so
makes
body,
sense.
mind, spirit.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, do you work in conjunction with an acupuncturist, or how does it, like, say I decided I wanted to come see you, what type of condition would I have where I'd say, oh, I think I need Ama massage?
Just anything. Anything. People, massage in itself is relaxing. But this particular massage is very therapeutic. It's
and is
very
this relaxing too? But also,
it's very relaxing. Yes, because when you get off the table, after I've completed everything, I've hopefully balanced out your energy and your interior system, so that once you get off the table, sometimes I have had to say, okay, I'm going to get you some water. We're going to sit and talk a little bit, because people need to be grounded a little bit more. I don't want you to go driving off in La La Land. It's lovely.
So if somebody like, what's an example of a common reason for people to come?
Well, actually, I have somebody coming into the office next week because she's perimenopausal. Any digestive issues, because we're also working on the belly.
Right.
Any high blood pressure, diabetes, because I'm going to also be talking to you, how's your lifestyle, how's your diet, how's your exercise, what's going on, because the ama is all therapeutic. It's ama therapy, and it's a mixture of ancient tradition, but also incorporating digestive, nutrition, how's your lifestyle. So it's body, mind, spirit.
So, and you were telling me before, like, you bring up the blood pressure, and I've had a blood pressure issue. So, if I was, and I did try acupuncture for it, and it didn't help, it didn't make it go away. But would possibly working with the ama massage and the acupuncture. And I know these are different experiences at different, with different practitioners at different times. Everything's a variable. But would those two work together?
I would say yes, but there's also the idea of, well, what's your constitution like? What's your family history like?
Right. I understand and this is what was explained to me. Some issues can be worked on with this and some can't, because it really depends on what the origin is.
Right.
Which is what you're bringing up here.
Right. It's certainly going to help, but if you were on medication, I would say bless that medication every day. Say thank you very much.
Yeah. So, do you generally work with somebody, with an acupuncturist at the same time as you do this?
Not necessarily. No, not necessarily.
And how many treatments do people, or is it wildly variable?
I would say, if I were coming in for an ama treatment, I would want to come in at least once a month. If I could afford it, I could come twice a month. But once a month, along with lifestyle modifications, dietary modifications. And it's all about putting your wellness in your own hands. It's not, I can do this particular treatment, but you have to do work as well. Yeah.
Right, which totally makes sense. I wanted to talk to you also about how this got started, how the ama massage, because it's very specific and it's related to acupuncture. So, and acupuncture, if you could explain a little bit about, how many points are there in acupuncture, and does ama massage recognize all of those points?
Yeah, that's a really great question. It's ancient. It's over 5,000 years old that they can actually identify. And from what I have studied and read is that where it originated were some monks meditating in caves in ancient China or Asia somewhere, and they started channeling this information. And you had also inquired about, well, what did they use?
Right.
Did they have those fine little needles like they have today? And absolutely not. They were using porcupine spines. They were using spines that were removed from fish, and also like the what you get in fish, the bones, the bones of the fish they would be using as well. So I'm losing my thing here. So it was really from that point on, and then as they started using it over the hundreds of years, traditional physicians would be modifying, saying, "Oh, well, if I use this point on my toe, this could actually also help with a sinus infection, or this point."
Yeah, can you explain anything about how that works?
Well, okay. So may I?
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Do a little bit. If I could just use your hand, like
sure.
This is your lung channel.
Okay.
Okay, and your lung channel can also be affected by your colon. Okay, so here's your lung channel. On the back here is this is part of your pericardium.
Okay.
Over here.
Which is a part of the heart.
Right. Over here is your heart. So may I just trade you here?
Yeah, sure.
So let's say that you're having a little bit of anxiety. I'm
Okay.
going to relax your arm here.
Okay.
And I'm going to be massaging from
Okay.
under here.
Okay.
And talk about the points. I might stop right here.
Okay.
Do you feel that pressure? Is it a little
Yes.
bit uncomfortable?
Yeah.
I would have
right.
already told you that there's going to be some points that are going to be a bit uncomfortable.
Okay.
So, but you have to tell me how deep
Okay,
I can
when you
go.
feel okay.
And then I'm going to be massaging all the way down here.
Okay.
And right here, if you bend your pinky there,
Okay.
right here is a wonderful heart point to be able to calm you down and relax you a little bit. So I would massage there. And I would also teach you that if you start getting a little nervous, and sometimes you'll even see people wringing their hands, that's no
Yeah.
surprise, right?
Right.
Because you've got all these points in your hands
Right.
as well. So, and this here is a great lung point. There's points all along here. And also, like on the inside, if people have asthma, they can kind of open up these points here.
So what,
to
just
help.
like hold like this?
Yeah.
And then how long do they have to hold like that?
You would hold it, massage for a few minutes, see how you're feeling. This is not, don't do this at home if you're having an asthma attack.
Right.
Grab your inhaler.
Yeah, this is just to, just
Like
generally if you have asthma, this is something that might loosen up the airways.
Right.
When it's not an acute situation.
Exactly.
You don't want to put
Yeah.
yourself in that.
Yeah. I also wanted to mention that people who get car sick and seasick, if you go 2 fingers from the wrist right there, right here is that point to hold.
Oh, okay.
And you can do little circles so that if you're on a boat or something, you're getting a little nauseated,
Right.
hold that.
Is
you
it
can
just
do
on
both
the
sides.
left hand?
No,
Oh, okay.
both sides.
Right. And
Work
we were
at both
talking
sides.
before, this is the idea behind the seasickness band.
Yes, the C-bands.
Yeah.
Right.
And I have tried that, and I think it worked, or something worked anyway. I
Right.
didn't get sick. But so this is the point, and you said it's about 2 inches from the
2 fingers.
2 fingers. Oh, okay. Interesting. I wanted to ask you about also, is this more well known and more practiced in other countries, or?
The Ama massage,
Yeah.
actually, it's probably going bye-bye because our master actually died several years ago.
And
there's
where
not-
was he or she?
She was out in Long Island, and they're not teaching it anymore in the
No
school.
one's teaching it anywhere?
Actually, there's a school in the state of Washington or Oregon who is still teaching aromatherapy. Yes.
And what about in other countries?
Not sure, and people will ask me, well, is it like shiatsu? And I can only say, well, I suppose it is, because shiatsu is also points.
And is it based on the same points as acupuncture?
I'm not sure. Yeah. But the whole idea of aromatherapy is that it was a gathering of different modalities, the massage, the history of traditional Chinese medicine, nutrition, and lifestyle modality changes.
Did you have any experience with people who you've treated with ama massage that have had like a dramatic change in their health for the better?
Dramatic. I think it not necessarily dramatic, but perhaps over a few sessions.
Yeah.
That they would see changes, because, and I always like to say, don't expect things to occur overnight, because they didn't come to you that way.
Right.
It came
Which
to
makes
you.
total sense.
Yeah. And so I would have to say that over a few sessions. And it's a constant type of modality that you want to go back to all the time. You know, if I showed you a yoga posture, if I showed you a meditation type of practice, it's a practice, and you have to keep repeating it.
Right.
It's
Which
part
makes
of-
sense.
Yeah, it's part of taking hold of your own wellness.
Right. So, for example, if a person came to you with like a heart issue, how would you work with that in the body, in the massage?
Okay. I would be working those heart points and just the general balancing. And
Is it a 1 hour treatment? Is
Yes.
that so? I would come in and it would be like it would be the format of a regular massage. But you would tell me how it differs from the format of a regular.
Well, you know, I don't. I go to particular practitioners, so I haven't been to a spa or a local massage place lately. So my feeling, the difference would be is that we would sit and we would talk, and I would find out, how are you doing today?
Right.
What changes have you seen? And then, okay, let's get you on the table. And then once you're off the table, again, I would have you sit down again and say, okay, let's make sure you're grounded. Here's some water. Make sure you're drinking more fluids. As they always say to you anyway, if you're going
Right.
for a massage, make sure you drink plenty of fluids. But it's the follow-up. It's the continuity of care,
Yeah.
I have to say.
And how many treatments would you recommend?
I would say once a month. You know,
Just to do it in an ongoing way.
Yeah, you know, maybe once every 3 months after a while, if you're feeling better about the whole thing.
And when you're focusing on strengthening the heart, what points do you focus on?
That's the one that comes down through your pinky.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, underneath the arm. I mean, the heart one goes directly underneath your armpit and then works its way all the way down to the pinky. And like I said, like sometimes I'll have palpitations, and I just go to this point where my pinky bends and touches.
Oh.
That's exactly where I would start massaging.
And can you feel a difference?
Yes.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's something and it's just on the left hand or it's on both?
No, it's on both sides.
On both sides?
Right.
Okay. So we only have a couple minutes left. Actually, not even that much time, but I just want to ask, is there anything that we didn't cover that you wanted to say before we close?
I think we covered a lot.
Okay,
Just to
awesome.
know that the acupuncture and the massage, the AMA massage, as if I'm working on your foot, it really could attach or be treating a place up in your mouth or your.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Cathy Lipsky, for being my guest again. And if you want to get in touch with her, how do people get in touch with you?
Oh, 914-912-2351.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Cathy.
Thank you, Betsy.
Okay, this is Betsy Sawyer Galen saying thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.